Hi guys, this is Justin Lake and this is my presentation over the case study involving internet use violations. First of all, what do I know? The teacher, she's a first-year teacher. Her name's Miss Walker. She teaches science classes at the school. She's got some of the higher level students in her classes, and kids that are competing for valedictorian, and they are extremely concerned about making sure that they have fantastic grades, obviously. She also has very high expectations for her students and requires a lot from them. Some students and parents are upset over the rigor of her classes, and when she got home from a long weekend, she received an email with a link to a website that someone had created where people were bashing on her classes, and using curse words, and there was a potential threat saying, "Who wants Miss Walker to disappear?" So what do I need to find out as a building administrator? I need to find out, first of all, if this is a real threat or if it's a prank or just kids being kids. I need to find out who is responsible, and it could be more than one person, and I need to find out if my teacher is safe to stay at her home if it is a real threat. Obviously the problem is we've got students or possibly a parent creating a website where people are basically just talking trash on a teacher and trashing a teacher and her course and what she expects from her students, and they're using curse words and there's potential threats being listed on there. And another problem is that the teacher is now concerned that her life could potentially be in danger. My plan of action. First, I would let the authorities know what is going on. Chances are it probably is a prank, but it's better to be safe than sorry. I wouldn't want it to be a real threat and have something horrible happen without me notifying the police. Secondly, I would tell the teacher that I notified the police and that everything is being taken care of very seriously and is already being addressed. Because remember, I was called on a Sunday night, so we're not at school yet. It's still a weekend. If the teacher is still concerned, I would tell her to stay at a friend's house until the problem is resolved. Upon arriving at school the next day, I would immediately get the IT director working on finding the origination of the website and see if he or she can figure out who is responsible. Lastly, I would start calling all of her students individually into my office to investigate what they know. Obviously, this would take a lot of time, potentially the whole day, but it's important to do so I don't single out somebody who I think could be guilty of it. The teacher gave me a name of somebody she thought could be guilty of it, but I want to go about this as if everybody is innocent. And I want to hear everybody's side of the story, and it's important that I leave no stones left unturned. Resolving the issue. First of all, did we find the source of the website? Was it a malicious comment as far as the threat, or was it a prank? Did the offender confess and cooperate? Are they remorseful, or did they lie the whole time and try to get around it? Is there anything in our school board policy about behavior like this and potential punishments, and what is best for the students involved? I personally, if it was a prank, there would still be a solid punishment. You can't talk trash like that and make a website for people to bash on teachers. I don't know if it would be OSS or ISS. That's probably something I would convene with my other administrators in the building and maybe even collaborate with other administrators I know from other schools on what they would do and come up with a fair and appropriate punishment. But if we don't let them bully each other like that on social media, and I know we would have rules about that, then same goes for, that's essentially bullying a teacher if it's a prank. Now obviously if it's a threat, the law is going to get involved, and that punishment is going to be a lot more severe. But as far as a prank goes, this is the type of stuff you can't allow in your school and in your school community, and there most definitely would be punishment for it, because everybody in our school, whether it be a custodian or a lunch lady or a bus driver or a teacher or a student or a principal, should all feel safe in the school environment. What was I thinking? First of all, my first priority was to make sure my teacher was safe. Yes, it could have been a prank, but it doesn't matter. The possibility of it being a threat is real, so that's why I notified the police immediately so they could know what was going on. Secondly, I need to find out who is responsible for this website so they could be appropriately punished. Like I said, I don't want to punish kids just to punish kids, but this is something that needs to be taken care of, and so it never happens again, so all kids know. A lot of factors would play into that, like I said earlier. You know, if we found out who it was and they cooperated and they were remorseful and they understood what they did wrong, you know, they'd probably have a lighter punishment than if it was a kid we found out that it was him or her, and they continued to deny that it was them even though we had proof that they did it, and they didn't cooperate. You know, their punishment would probably be a little bit more stiff. Lastly, if it was a student or students, I would want to turn this into a learning situation, just like every punishment that I do in my classroom or for my sports teams, basketball or football. Everything relates to life. So you've got to find a way to teach it into a life lesson for them to learn from it so they don't make a similar mistake again. And a reflection. How did I demonstrate a sense of integrity and ethical behavior that serves as a model for all members of the school community? Okay, how did I treat people fairly, equitably, and with dignity and respect? How did I demonstrate a personal and professional code of ethics that inspires others to higher levels of performance? I think the first two are almost the exact same question. But I've got 3 examples that I think kind of cover all 3 of those. First of all, I treated all potential threats, no matter how big or small, as serious, which we have to do in a school building. Okay? Any potential threat needs to be taken seriously, because if you don't take it serious and it turns out to be a real threat and something bad happens, not only are you personally going to feel awful for treating it like it's a joke or a prank, but the law could come down on you in your school. Also, I interviewed all students in her classes, not just the one that she suggested might be responsible for the website. You can't just single people out and assume they're guilty until they're proven guilty. So it's important that all witnesses or suspects that are in her classes are interviewed and investigated the exact same way, so nobody feels like they are being targeted. And also, I assumed that all people were innocent until proven otherwise. You know, just like in the real court system in our country, it's important to assume that somebody is innocent until there's absolute proof that they are guilty. Because some people have motives, some people want to throw other people under the bus. You can't always believe what you say. Or what people say. You want to get all the evidence and gather it all together, and that way you can make your best judgment. This concludes my case study for Ed Law. Thank you.